What's going on, everybody? Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of UnSKripted. I'm here with, what's interesting, man? I got a really cool guest. I've interviewed this guy a whole lot of times, and it never gets old. You know, a little thing, I don't know if y'all know about this, actually, a little fun fact about this guy, this wonderful guy. So about, let me see, probably 6 or 7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago, I was hired on to start my own writing site, wrestling site, and I called it the Floor Seat. I came up with the name. There was some big donors that actually gave me the ability to start my own wrestling site. They gave me the dollars for it. They gave me all the fun things for it too. And so I was like, you know what, man, they allowed me to start it from scratch. And I was like, you know what? So me being a business guy, I got this project. I'm starting it from scratch. I'm going to be sure that I'm going to make this a go-to site for people to go to. So I started writing wrestling news, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick two people that I know have really, really cool stories. I'm going to hire them to be writers for me. And one was Marty Elias. He was a columnist for me, and the other one was this guy, JTG, and he wrote some really cool stories for me for the site, and it was really cool working with him. And I texted him, and I was like, man, hey, man, I got hired to start a site and really want to launch it up. And he was like, absolutely, man, I can give you all I can as far as stories, and hired him on, and it was fun. I mean, it was a fun time. So I haven't spoke to him in a few years, man. I've interviewed him. There's people on a list. I have a list of people who I've interviewed the most that been in WWE or just well-known wrestlers, and this guy is one of them. I don't know how many now, probably 6 or 7 times. I don't know how many, but it's all good and all fun every single time. So without further ado, Jay the God, JTG, how are you, my man?
Thanks for having me, Chris. Thanks for having me. Everything's doing good. Everything's going great.
Wonderful. It's good. It's great to have you back, man. It's been a while, but
and I don't know if you remember my memory, man, because I would definitely not remember that. Please send me those stories that I wrote.
yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun when you were writing. You were remember you wrote a story about Hulk Hogan. Your experience.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. That was I enjoyed that one.
that was really fun. Yeah.
I took some time with that one.
yeah, man. Yeah. So Hulk Hogan, man, you know, he I don't know if you know about his situation with the ambassador girl, Essence Janae. You know, there was some.
Say that one more time.
So I don't know if you know about his story, his situation with there was like a model and like a brand model named Essence Janae, and she was hired on by his beer company, Real American Beer, and so then she says that he took a picture with her, and then all of a sudden she finds out by her agent that her services are no longer needed. And then within a few days, there were other people of other ethnicities in his campaign and his brand pictures and videos and stuff. And so, yeah, it's been some stuff. I interviewed her probably a few weeks ago, so it's been really interesting with that, man. So that's
Hogan and the racist conspiracy.
Yeah, man. What was your? I know that you wrote a story about Hulk Hogan, you know, when you were writing for the Floor Seat from my site, but just kind of for those who don't know about. First of all, you have two really, really cool books out, man. That really uncovers a whole lot of really cool stories of your experience in WWE. Let the listeners know about those books and what they cover. And then you got another project that you're working on now too with the YouTube that's got almost 10,000 followers in just a few months, man. So that's great too.
Thank you, man. That caught me off guard too.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Hey, wrestling fans really love stories, and that's what drove me to write those first two books. I had no interest in writing books or how to self-publish my books or even it was kind of like out of my mind. And then, I just had the right people in my ear, just telling me that was pushing me, telling me I have a unique way of telling my stories because I don't come across like bitter, something that, I would be pissed off about it. And I just, I'm lighthearted, I made a joke about, that's kind of like me and Shad's relationship. We just made a joke about everything. We didn't, no matter how bad the situation was, we're going to find a way to get some type of humor out of it. And that's the way I, I approached the books. And the first book was about me and Shad's experiences getting into Heat, and Heat is it's kind of like our word for having that dark cloud over your head when you it's like the cooties for grown ass men. Nobody want to associate themselves with you, and you probably got heat because you picked up you looked at somebody wrong. Something was on your mind and they saw you and you glanced, just something just so trivial, and you'll get heat for that. It could be a misunderstanding, and you have to fix that immediately because that could cost you a career. And the second book was about how to play the game, and that's a very self-explanatory. In any business place, you're gonna have to learn to play the game. You just can't just go off just talent. That's how I thought. I thought I would just go in there with raw talent and give them charisma and my amazing move skill. And you need more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So covered a bunch of really cool stories with that. I think one of the stories that you covered was about a certain guy who likes to style and profile, if you will, and your experience working with him. And it's interesting because unfortunately he announced lately that him and his wife Wendy are splitting up. And just your experience with working with Ric Flair, for the viewers who aren't really familiar of your experience working with Ric Flair. How was it working with Ric Flair in the WWE?
Working with Ric Flair, growing up a wrestling fan, my first encounter with Ric Flair, it was very professional. It was great. But then when you're on the road and those drinks start to flow, you see other side of people. Yeah. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and since then, Rick, I've always seen him sober. He's always been in great spirit. He's still ticking. I think he's still got one more match. He said he's got one more match. I think he's still got one more match. Yeah. It's interesting, man, because he's officially retired, or you think he's gonna do one more?
I think, man. I think. I mean, you know how it is as a wrestler, man. It's just that you're as good as your last match, man. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why the Undertaker continues to want to come back and come back and come back and come back, because it's that adage as a wrestler. You're as good as your last match. And
man, I think I would be the only wrestler that says when I say that's it, that is it.
And I can respect that.
I think I would be the first to do it.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels was that guy for almost 10 years, man. He was out and he came
to get
back.
That Saudi Arabia check, right?
Yeah, he had to get that Saudi money, man. He had to get that ball-headed Shawn Michaels Saudi money, man. It was just a whole different. He didn't like the match either. He continues to talk about how much he regrets it. In hindsight, man, no, it just wasn't worth it from the recency bias standpoint.
All money ain't good money.
That's right, man. All money ain't good money, exactly. And just that match, it was clumsy. It was sloppy.
He has to come back and now he has to come back and redeem himself.
Yep, yeah, and it's interesting because, like I said, Taker was the same way. I mean, the Goldberg match was sloppy. And he really wanted to have redemption for that. The Cena match at WrestleMania 34 was just a squash. That was a nothing match. I mean, I think and
then as much as I did like to see Taker last year, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was, and I'm glad that it wasn't a match either. I'm glad that it wasn't. I don't. People ask me this question because typically my weekly co-host is the legendary Bill Apter, and he desires for the Undertaker to come back. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to see the Undertaker. A lot of times people don't let good enough be great. And it's like, man, you got to do it. You got to let good enough be great. And it's like, man, I don't want, as a fan, as a traditional old school fan, I do not want to see another Undertaker match. And my all-time favorite wrestler, Sting. I don't want to.
What about the cinematographic one? The one he did with AJ? How you pronounce that word? Cinema.
The cinematography.
Cinematography match.
Yeah. So I like that. That was a good send-off to me. Because, again, if you're as good as your last match, which a lot of the philosophy is in the wrestling, in the pro wrestling field, pro wrestling world, I think if there's one person that would be a good send-off for anybody, any legend, it would be AJ Styles as far as carrying a match. And I love the bells and whistles. It didn't require the Undertaker to do a lot of work. It was really cool. It was during COVID, so it was just a lot of cinematography, and it just really worked. You had the Good Brothers. You had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. You have both of them working in that match too. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was great. I think it was a great send-up. And then after he beat AJ, he literally rode into the sunset. Like he rode his bike, and that was a perfect match.
Perfect send-off.
That was his last match. And so I'm glad it was. But he's talking about now that he's interested in maybe one more match. And I'm like, oh, man. What do you think, man? Working with the Undertaker, being in the same locker room as the Undertaker many times. You've talked about Wrestler's Court before, and of course the Undertaker. He's like the general. At Wrestler's Court,
the judge.
And executioner. That's right, man. So let us know, like, what do you think about the Undertaker's last match, and give us a good Wrestler's Court story for those who haven't read your book, so you can whet their appetites.
Okay, so a good Wrestler's Court story. So I got into a little situation in my early days in my wrestling career, like I'll say about my first second year, and the superstar at hand that was taking me to court scheduled it for a day where both rosters would be in the locker rooms, because at the time, they were strict with the Raw and SmackDown with the drafts. Mm-hmm. So that day was what day was that? That was the day of was it a draft? No, it was Vince McMahon's funeral. Something to do with that. Yeah, it was Vince McMahon's funeral, and we were all there. We were all dressed up and all that nonsense. And it was a big deal in catering. I had JBL coming up to me. He was like, "Oh, we gonna get you. We're going to get you real good." It's like, oh. And I've heard stories. Like, I've read the Hardy Boys book, and they went to Wrestler's Court, and they had to pay a tough fine. And, I was sweating the night before, Mm-hmm. And, I had to get an attorney. Sandman was my attorney. Mm-hmm. Don't let their parents fool you. Don't judge a book by its cover. Sandman is very well read and very articulate, and I felt very confident in my pick. Nice. But Wrestler's Court did not happen that day, and you're gonna have to find out in reading the book.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Awesome. Yeah. What's the and it's usually like if you're guilty, you just have to pay. You have to compensate with like a pack of beer or a pack of.
Oh no! So no. That's right off the tip. Right, you're gonna do that just to get on everybody's good side. Yeah, I spent a lot of money that morning before I came to the arena. Yeah, I went to the liquor store. I got beers. I got Taker's favorite drink. I got JBL's favorite drink. And you get the boys some drinks, you want to, make sure everybody's on your side. You see the playing field is level before you go into court. And then, the judgment could be anything from dressing outside the locker room. It could be being somebody's chauffeur for a month, you know, to carrying their bag. Being somebody's bag boy. You know, it could be the discipline. There's so many things they could do. I know Miz went to wrestler's court. He had to dress. You know, he couldn't dress in the locker room for like a couple of months.
Oh wow! Yikes! Yeah. Wow, really interesting. So yeah, it's interesting because you and Dolph Ziggler have been friends for a while, and he's really killing it over at TNA. He's even the world champion. You know, he's talked about a lot of times within WWE. He's like begged Vince McMahon to let him go from his contract, and Vince just wouldn't let him go. Finally, he was able to get let go and just have like a renaissance in his wrestling career. What do you think about Vince McMahon just like contract-wise really wanting to have these wrestlers under his thumb when he was there, despite not really using them the way that they should be, yourself included?
I got to look at it. I can't look at it from a personal perspective. I got to look at it from a business perspective. Like as a businessman, you invested money into this superstar and you haven't gotten your money out of them yet. It's like how do you because every time you're on TV, that costs money. Do you use them to make another superstar look good? You know, that's how you get your money back. Or do you give them another shot? Mm-hmm. You got to take away the personal side of it. You know,
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, because if you think about it from a business standpoint, and I talk about business a lot in my shows, a lot of people, the fan doesn't really look at it from a standpoint of like,
it's very emotional. I like him, and
I like him.
I want you to right. Give him a push.
I want you to push him. I want him to be like an Ultimo Dragon, like carry like 7 belts at once, man. That type of person.
Like,
but you made a good point as far as like from a business standpoint, when you're thinking of Vince. I'm sorry, man. This lower third is getting on my nerves. It's just cutting my hair. Okay, there we go. Let's put this one. So yeah, when you have from a business standpoint, when you're looking at someone like a Vince McMahon who he's bringing people in, yes, you can't push everybody at the same time, but what you can do is you can make people who are really good at what they do make somebody else look good. And so you are getting
that's how you squeeze the much money.
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting your money's worth by making someone else look good, and that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people's like, "Man, this person isn't getting pushed. I can't believe that they're burying this person. Is burying this person." Okay, sure, that's your guy, but at the same time, he's not in line. You know, someone like a Jinder Mahal, for instance. You know, just with hard work and just that ability to stick with it and stick and just stay in the gym.
Just timing.
Yeah, exactly. Timing. And he became world champion in 2017 after not even being in the main event not once ever before. You know what I mean? And so that was wild, man. You were there. What year did you get let go?
Like 2014.
Wow, it's been 10 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's about that time, that 10-year mark. After that, yeah.
Wow.
I'm feeling good about 2025, man. We'll see, Chris.
Really? Okay. Yeah. What does 2025 have in store for you think? That you can share with us right now.
I just feel like that's I think that's the year. I think that's that 10 years a good, that you brought that up is a good time between, a good gap,
Yeah, good gap.
10 years is a good gap.
Wow, it didn't seem like it's bad.
And then I just have a good feeling, I've just been manifesting stuff lately. So we just gonna see.
Okay. So have you ever had any talks or any contacts from AEW or TNA after leaving WWE?
Say that one more time.
Have you ever had any talks or contacts with AEW or TNA after leaving WWE?
No, not AEW or TNA, just NWA. And when I went back to WrestleMania, the year that Shad was inducted backstage, there was some talks, but nothing. There was no follow back on each end. So we'll get back to that. We'll cross that bridge.
We will cross that bridge. Absolutely. Yeah. It's been how long since Shad's passed?
4 years now.
Wow, it's been 4 years. Time just be flying, man. Yeah.
Man.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, just it's interesting. I'm glad that the WWE did acknowledge, Shad, and just to hear his heroism, as far as how he unfortunately passed. It was just very heroic, and I imagine you being one of his biggest road dogs, one of his, OG road dogs in WWE. I imagine it wasn't a surprise for you what he did, for his son, what I mean, to save his life on at the expense of his own,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think that that's very heroic, man, very heroic. So your thoughts on that 4 years later?
That yeah, like you said, it didn't surprise me at all. As you know, you read stories before. Shad has always done some X-Men or some superhero joint. You heard the gas station story. There's a story where he with a female and her boyfriend outside the club, and he stepped in, and so Shad has always done some horror, putting other people's safety before his.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Vince McMahon documentary. That's
is that out yet?
Tomorrow.
Ooh, I have something to do.
It's
hold on. So over here, so tomorrow, do you mean like after 12, so I can watch it like at 12:01? I can stay up tonight.
I think it's on. Yeah, so Wednesday, so the 25th. Yeah.
I'm staying up tonight. I'm watching that.
Yeah, it's going to be good. The trailer looked pretty good.
Just to lead up to it, I heard he tried to buy it, so
he tried to buy it.
You know it's going to be good.
He tried to buy it. Yeah, he's got a statement.
That's not true. That's good marketing.
Yeah. I mean,
because I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'll be sure my name isn't dragged. I want to be sure I have the control and make sure my name isn't dragged in the mud on my terms. So therefore, I'm going to buy it. Attempt to buy it. So, but it's interesting because
there was a tweet.
Yep, exactly. I was just about
real quick.
Yep. I was just.
I hope you guys enjoyed, but wait for hear my side of the story.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to talk about the tweet. So Vince, he sends he doesn't hardly ever tweet, and so he sends out a statement, and he says, "I'm gonna actually read it so we can discuss it real quick the last few minutes of the show." So he says, "I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut I've seen, this doc falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and promos alone make that evident. A lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers use typical editing tricks without out of context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are two sides to every story." JTG, your thoughts on that, man?
Well, Chris, I'm going to give Vince the benefit of the doubt, and I'll tell you this why. When I looked at that poster, that was not that is a boxing ring. If you can't get the artwork right, how am I trust you with this important information about the man who hired me and changed my life? I gotta look at it, from a different, I gotta look at it, I'm looking at the artwork and I'm like, hold on, they can't even get this right. So I gotta see. I'm gonna look at it with an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah. What are the biggest pro? Like, what was the biggest pro and the biggest con working for Vince McMahon from your experience?
Biggest pro, for me, because everybody had their own experience with Vince. How accessible he was. You would think that a man that busy that wouldn't make time for his superstars. Well, with me, to me, it was first getting past that intimidating, because that will hold you back. Once you get past the fear part, I was able to go knock on his door, and even if it didn't happen, he heard it, and then we wait to see what happens. I don't know if anybody else had that experience. I didn't have that experience with somebody else in charge. I'm not gonna say any names. Read the book. But with Vince, that I was glad that I had that accessibility.
Yeah. Biggest con.
Biggest con in that company, when you mess up, it's not said to you directly. You have to kind of like figure it out. If you have heat, you got to figure it out. If you've done something wrong, you just got to read between the lines and figure it out. Why am I not being used on TV? They're not going to tell you. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah. And you had a bunch of ideas shot down, didn't you?
Yeah.
And one of the times we talked before, you said that there was a certain idea that got used on television, but you're the one who pitched, it first, but it was shot down. All of a sudden, a few weeks later, you see it on television.
I saw a different variation of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody else had it.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is that I pitched to an idea to Vince that I wanted an imaginary friend, and his name will be Self, and only I could see it, and the WWE universe the WWE universe could see it, and I can see it, but the backstage audience, like, they won't be able to see it. Kind of like when you watch what's that show on Netflix with the hormone monsters. It's that similar interaction. The audience can see it, and I can interact with it, but the people who are in the scene, they can't. Yeah. So similar to that, and loved it. We were trying to we got a Muppet and everything. Everything was going great, and then I probably said or did something wrong. I don't know. And maybe a month or a few weeks later, I saw a different variation of my idea.
About an imaginary person. So read between the lines of
I ain't gonna tell you. I'm gonna do just like like them. Read between the lines.
You read between the lines, indeed. And so before we go, man, promote your YouTube. What brings your, like, what's the rhyme or reason, or what determines a particular topic that you want to talk about and for your videos? What's like the behind the stage type of brainstorming that you do before you come up with your videos?
So my editor, I have an editor out of Chile, and he gets some of the ideas from fans, and we might not. They come with ideas. They email them. 1 second. Lights went out. Jeez, my bad. Hold on 1 second. Lights went out.
No problem at all. JTG After Dark. JTG After. There we go. As Sid would say, we're live.
Was that a sign? What time was that? What time did that light go off? I'm big into signs.
30. I don't know. 11:31.
Yeah, where was I at? Yeah, and the fans, they email some ideas. We can come up with some ideas, and we have a bunch. We just come up with a list. We just write them down, and then how I'm feeling, what story I want to talk about. I can't just go for it. If I don't feel like talking about that, I'm not going to address that. I'm going to get to that later. I feel like talking about this story.
Yeah.
Because when I talk about the story, I want to put as much emotion to it. I want to get into it and have fun with it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. So yeah, as Jim Ross would tell Sid, we're live, pal, when it comes to that light incident. But it's all, I love moments like that, though. It just makes it seem more authentic. We got one super chat before we go. We got Rollin 999. What's up, JTG and Dr. Chris? RIP Shad Gaspard. I saw on JTG's channel that his Mount Rushmore are 1 Brett, 2 Rock, 3 HBK, 4 Savage. Where do you rank my GOAT, Steve Austin, and Dr. Chris's GOAT, Hulk Hogan? That is, first of all, that Hulk Hogan that's a big joke. That's not my goal. Rollin is one of the biggest supporters. He knows that's my all-time favorite.
The
Sting,
5-year-old me would have put Hulk Hogan #1.
Yes, yeah. Where do you put Steve Austin? Where do you
put Steve Austin? I put him in the top 5.
Okay.
Top 5, top 6. I'm definitely a big Steve Austin fan. I definitely was in high school. Me and my friends definitely had a what sign in MSG. So yes, yeah. I am a Steve Austin fan.
It has the what chance? Is the what chant annoying now, in your opinion?
Nah, I mean, you know what? Hold on. Only when Austin does it. No, it's not annoying. But anybody else, kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's super annoying now. Even Austin talked about. Like,
I think I just save it for Austin. Yeah, just save it for
exactly. Yeah. And he doesn't even do it anymore. Like I think he buried the what chance like 15 years ago. Man. Like that was so like 2001, 2002, the invasion era. And man, people just say what just to put themselves over. Like the fans just say what during a promo, and it doesn't even make sense. Like Gunther's cutting a heel promo. He's a heel. He's supposed to cut a heel promo, and they'll just start saying what. I'm like, okay, man. Yeah, let's not make this as awkward as it already is.
Did you brought up invasion? Do you smell another invasion situation coming on
with TNA and NXT? Or just what's the invasion? Because TNA is working with NXT now. What invasion are you
Shane was in the AEW office.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the rumors of Shane. Yeah. You know, man, I think that with AEW, you know, Tony Khan has a mentality of like people, all these people that's being brought in, with the exception of maybe Swerve and Christian Cage. They're just a shiny new toy, man. You know what I mean? They're just a shiny new toy. The latest shiny new toy that he bought for his toy box. And you got a lot of like Miro's asking for his release.
Yeah, now. I was just about to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. And not a lot of people, the grass is greener a lot of times on the AEW side. It's just like, hey, there's my shiny new toy for a while, and then I'll put you in the chest. So I don't see how Shane McMahon would be any different. I think that he would get that immediate pop. And then the way that Tony Khan books, he's very wrestling heavy, not a lot of character and emphasis. So I do think that Shane McMahon would be just like everybody else, a shiny new toy, be on the trophy. Look at my shiny new toy, everybody, and it'll last for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, let me push you back in the chest. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, so AEW won't be the right one for the invasion. Maybe a Samoan invasion. We'll see.
Bloodline, yeah. One last super chat, Rollin. Okay, where does JTG rank Dr. Chris's favorite Sting?
Sting, top 10.
Okay, I'll give you that.
You know, because I have to say that I didn't grow up on WCW. I didn't get into WCW until I'll say around the NWO, like 97, 96. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I started watching wrestling around 85. And in NWA, I watched WWF and NWA, but there was something about NWA that just really captivated me. It was that studio audience. It was intimate. It was just, I loved the promos in NWA. Like I always say that back in the NWA, like their promo was like their merch. They would sell the audience and they would sell the viewers on their promos. And that's the reason why promos to me just, is so important, man. It's a lost art cutting a good promo nowadays. But as you were at FCW and, with Dusty and how much he emphasized cutting the promos and how important that was and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I just want to say that you brought that up with the NWA in the studio. It was an honor to be able to cut a promo behind that podium. I don't know if it was
yeah. That was really cool, man.
Just looking back, I'm like, wow, yeah, that you brought that up. You seen Ric Flair do his promos in the NWA studio. A lot of the greats, and I had that opportunity, and I cut a hell of a promo. If you ever could.
Yeah, that's great, man. It was good for you to be, to step foot in NWA and have that studio audience feel and things like that. And the Four Horsemen promo was originated there. When Art Anderson called them the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And that was the origin of the Force right there behind that podium, man. So there's so much rich history behind that podium, and you were able to step back there and cut a promo back there too, and be among the greats behind that podium. So I imagine it was really cool, man. So
Really
all right, one last super check. Who are JTG's top 5 black pro wrestlers of all time?
Top 5. We'll have to definitely throw King Booker. We'll throw King Booker in there. Definitely got to throw Kofi in there.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I was an Ahmed Johnson fan.
Ahmed, okay. I was a big Ahmed Johnson fan back then.
Bring up Ahmed Johnson, you definitely got to throw throw Farouk in there.
Ron Simmons, yeah.
And Mark Henry. And how many do I have left?
That was 5.
That's 5? Okay, there we go.
And then how did you feel bad about the Lita angle?
Not till we got her blessing. At first, we had to talk to her about it, because when we read the script, it was kind of like, ooh, I know that's not the way you want to really want to go out. But we talked over the script with her, and the ideas that you guys thought were funny and hilarious. We talked to her about it first, and she was like, all right, cool, yeah. And yeah, we just had to have fun. We couldn't go out there, wearing the woo-woo face. Like, man, we have to do this to one of our, we grew up watching Lita, and that was her last match. But we, business, yeah, do what you gotta do, yeah. And we made the best out of it. We had fun.
Yeah. All right, my man. It's been a pleasure, man. It's just whisked by, man. Let the listeners know about all things JTG. You're still grinding on the indies, and you got your YouTube project, and let the listeners know about you, man.
Yeah, man. Just keep subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jay the God. Follow me on Instagram, JTG121084. Same thing on Twitter, and keep an eye out for me in 2025. We'll see what's up.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And make sure you get your WrestleMania. Chris, you going to get your WrestleMania tickets in October?
Yeah, thankfully.
I know you going to Vegas. I know you got to skip it out on Vegas.
Yeah, you know what, man? I don't pay for tickets. Thankfully, I get media credentials. But
you just gotta get your plane ticket then. All right.
The only thing is, man, I'm gonna pass for next year, man, because it's on Easter weekend.
What?
Yeah, it's on Easter weekend, man. I was discussing going, to cover for media, but I was like, nah, man, I'm not. I will spend time with my family. It's Easter weekend, so yeah. So
in spirit, brother, we'll celebrate you in spirit.
Yeah, exactly. So youtube.com /@JayTheGod. I'm gonna put this on here right now, just to promote my guy here. youtube.com /JayTheGod. All right, there you go. So go ahead and follow that. Go there now. Go to his YouTube channel, hit that sub, support him, man. He's sharing stories. It's a big thing now, man. People love kind of breaking the fourth wall type of story format, and you can tell this guy right here is a businessman, because it's like, okay, I see the current. Oh, let me jump into that. Let me put some stock in that. And so that's exactly what he's doing, putting some stock in that, this wave of sharing stories, man. So he's got some really cool ones. So go to youtube.com /JayTheGod. Subscribe to him. Follow him at JTG1284 on the socials. Check out his indie dates. Go support him if you're local, wherever he's going. Until then, this guy right here is JTG. I'm Dr. Chris. This is UnSKripted. Have a good night, everybody.